Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. So I recently had the honor of interviewing a few of my friends who graduated this year. The people I am interviewing today are Brad, Lynn, Karis, Isabel, Everett, and Stacy. So I wanted to give these wonderful people a chance to really vent about what it's like to graduate during a pandemic, because I feel like we don't get a chance to hear from a lot of people our age about the situation that's going on. And we're scared just like everyone else. But they happen to make the best out of it and finish their education, which they worked so hard for so many years. And let's celebrate them. I hope you enjoy this podcasty-like episode. It's not usually what I make. I haven't made a lot, but I would like to try to make podcasts in the future, so let me know what you think. And if you graduated or are in school during the pandemic, let me know your experiences down below. Bye guys. All right, so let's get started. So today we're going to be talking about your guys' experiences graduating during a quarantine, because I feel like not many people, at least that are alive now, can say that they graduated during a quarantine. So first off, we're all film majors, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Did anyone take any minors? Stacy, what did you take?
Business minor.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we can talk about our college experience as a whole and how it led up to this point. College has been a beneficial experience or been kind of like, I just want to get it over with kind of thing. And anyone can start.
Who's the youngest?
Karis.
Okay, she goes first.
Am I actually?
I think so.
Oh, it must be. Okay. I was trying to think. I think college was beneficial. I feel like I didn't know that much before going to college about film anyway. So I think it was beneficial on a knowledge standpoint, but then also on like meeting people and like learning how to be like an adult standpoint as well. Because I feel like if I just went from high school straight into the real world, it would have been like a lot harder. So I think, yeah, it was a good experience. I think. I wish it wasn't as expensive as it is, but I think it was good overall for sure.
Overall, I don't know if college was really worth it. I feel like most of the things I learned, I was teaching myself most of the time, like through readings or just material assigned to the class. If I could change it, I would change it and not be a film major, but here we are. But I'm grateful that I can just have a degree and move on with my life.
So what major would you have chosen?
I don't know. I was thinking about it, and I think maybe doing something in like social marketing, just something business wise that I could have like a strong standing in, and I wouldn't have to rely on film things. But I enjoyed film. There we go. I don't regret it at all.
Does anyone else feel that way? That like, why did I choose this major?
Me a little bit. I don't know. I feel like any useful knowledge I have did not come from a class. You know, it came from working with people outside of class, and I wouldn't have met those people if I didn't go to the classes, I guess. But the actual experiences I have and the knowledge I know largely isn't theory related. You know, like actually working on set, that comes from working on set, and you could do that without a degree. So,
Lynn, what about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Like, I mean, most of the people I work with, I've had classes with, but then we don't know each other until we work on set. So I say like the most valuable knowledge came from working on sets rather than being in class and just being around the office, the PSU TV office, I think. and that would just like lead me to more things outside of college. So I think in a way college is beneficial, but I don't think it should cost that much. Yeah.
Isabel?
Yeah, kind of the same that they've been saying. Like, it's frustrating because, like Brad was saying, like, yeah, if it weren't for college, there's a lot of people that I wouldn't have met, like everybody here right now. Like, but also, like, it wasn't the college itself that helped. It was the people that you meet and then like build with outside of the college, which has what's been making the past, term was so frustrating. Was it was like most of what's good for like the good parts of like film school, like the access to equipment and that we didn't have access to, and like being able to make connections with people in person, which you can kind of do online but nowhere near as easily. And yeah, that's really frustrating because yeah, it's like we are spending a whole lot of money to like take a bunch of classes that we don't need. I'm not like I'm happy that I did it because I met cool people, but it'd be great if in the future people didn't have to pay tens of thousands of dollars just to like meet people and maybe get access to like renting equipment, like, and maybe some texts that they wouldn't get access to otherwise. But I also think that like so much like knowledge should just be made free and publicly available anyway.
True. Did anyone take a production class? Isabel, you did?
Not this last term.
Okay. Who took like an actual like going in, not theory, needs cameras kind of class?
This past term?
Yeah. You guys you guys opted out of that one.
I was done with my production by the time this term rolled
Yeah,
around.
I was done too.
Mhm. Same.
Do you think you're more grateful because you took them earlier?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, but the problem is like they don't require that much production because it's more heavily based on theory, which I think would have helped knowing going in. Like all I knew going into PSU was, oh, they have a great film department for theory, which I guess I didn't hear that part. But yeah, I mean, I have to agree with everyone. Like I think the best part was meeting other people, but as far as like actually being in class, I was pretty lucky. Did anyone have Matt McCormick? Okay, I was really lucky because he was really like real and really brutal and just taught me a lot in production.
Yeah.
And like obviously, I mean, he taught me that you can't learn much in a classroom unless you're like actually applying it to real life set life, which is what I did from that class. And I took all that during sophomore year. So sophomore year was actually like my most beneficial year besides like this past one where I was hanging out with PSU TV all the time. But I didn't have to pay anything to do that.
So, being that we're all like artsy majors, do you think it's more difficult now to like get connections outside because we're all quarantined and can't really go out and network?
I'd
I mean,
say
yeah.
yes.
I know that's a tough question.
I mean, like you start networking online, right? Like Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever, and like that's kind of what I did. But you can't really fulfill those connections without actually meeting those people in real life. So it's like you can kind of start building up a list of people, like kind of resources, but you can't really actually apply them during quarantine. So
Like I feel like when you're also sometimes like you make connections just by like being in class with someone and being like placed in a group project with them, or literally just going up after class and being like, hey, you want to work together. It doesn't really happen the same way when it's like a discussion post,
that's true.
Did you guys find it was like harder to focus this term?
Yeah, for sure. I don't know why, because like everything stopped, so it's not like I could do anything else anyway. But I feel like I just had like no motivation to do anything school related.
Yeah. I think I just like stopped caring. And then also since we're graduating and then they don't count the spring term like GPA, I was like, okay, fuck it. Like I'm not gonna, or I would just be like too depressed to do anything.
So Everett, you actually graduated winter term.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
you,
right before everything happened.
how do you feel about that? Are you kind of feeling sorry for these guys over here?
I am that. Oh my gosh, I would lose my mind if I had to do everything online. There's just like no life to it, and like as you could see, my laptop like didn't even work. Like I would fail everything just trying to keep up with everything. But yeah, I feel bad, and it also sucks. There's like a lack of gratification when you don't get to be there and you don't get to experience your final term in college life, and you're forced to do it online. But in these circumstances, it's understandable. It's kind of like for me when we were graduating and we didn't get to go. It's kind of humbling because there's so many other things that are happening that you reflect on yourself, and it sucks, but it's not the end of the world kind of thing. Um, yeah, I wish it could have just been normal, but of course, there are things happening. So yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we all have working computers and Wi-Fi, so we got pretty fortunate with what we're dealt with. I just felt sorry for you guys because like it was your last term and you had to spend it online and not get those experiences and connections for your last term of school. Has it hit you guys that you guys don't have to be in school anymore?
I mean, I'm taking my last term now during the summer.
Hmm.
I've never taken online classes before. It's definitely worse than the Zoom classes because at least with Zoom you have to like be present at a certain time. Um, but yeah, I think the biggest struggle was like I think we were all kind of hyping up spring term, like, oh, here it comes. These are our last weeks. We're gonna make them last. They're gonna be so much fun. And that got cut off. So it was like we were done before we knew we were done, at least with all the like the in-person experiences. So that was like the biggest like depressor. Um yeah, not to go heavy, but that was like the biggest one.
Kind of to like that kind of describes like the way that it wasn't like I don't know. I feel like spring term, it's like the last push, and like also campus is just really pretty. Like PSU campus is just really pretty spring term, and like I think that's an extra motivator for me. And usually, like if it's like, oh, we're almost done, and like, it's nice out, and would have had more motivation, and then like to have like none of that just made it be like, ugh, like I'm not even gonna feel fully satisfied after this. Like I just don't want to do this, and also like as morbid as it is kind of the thing of like I didn't want to focus on schoolwork when it's like, okay, but like what if I caught it and my last weeks were done like spent like just like writing essays,
That's a very
gloomy as
good
it is.
point.
It's like during a pandemic, it's just hard to feel like, classes are important at all.
Yeah, did any of you guys move back home for like away from campus if you were living on campus?
Yeah, I was living in the dorms and then they offered us like an out of our housing contract, and so I took it and moved back to my parents' house like an hour and a half away. So I'm like completely removed from Portland State. Like my last kind of memories of Portland State are literally like packing all my stuff from my dorm and like getting out of there like really quick, and that was like kind of sad in a way. Like it wasn't a good like happy ending. It was just like, oh, I need to leave like right now so I don't have to pay money, basically is what it was. So a little disappointing for sure.
Because I have some friends who went back home and they felt like they're kind of regressing in their adulthood and independence kind of thing. Did you feel that?
Yes.
Yeah, at first, but I am moving out, so I do have an apartment now in Corvallis, but definitely at first, because I was like, wow, I'm like back home and like this old room again. So it is a little weird. It was weird to get used to for sure.
And Stacy, you moved back home, or you were home, right?
Yeah, I've been living with my folks. But it does feel kind of regressed, like the independence, because I felt like super at home on campus, outdoors and indoors. And like spring term, like Isabel was saying, is so gorgeous. And I'm usually like skipping through the park blocks and I'm like so happy, and I was so excited for all my friends to see that. But yeah, staying at home all the time definitely kind of took away that like big chunk of independence I felt when I was out at school and just sort of taking care of stuff and spending time with friends. So it was also hard too because when your bedroom is also school, it's like there's no escape really, except for the kitchen.
Then for Lynn, Brad, and Isabel who live on your own, did you feel more isolated because you couldn't really leave?
Yeah. Like, I mean, I'm still in quarantine. Like, I haven't left the house, since like the middle of March, really. So like, I don't know. It feels so weird. I don't think Zoom calls are like a good replacement for hanging out with people. I don't think like, it just felt like overnight, like my life completely changed and like days go by so fast now. And like, I don't know, like the other day, my roommate Donald, he said, we've been in quarantine for 104 days, and I was like, that doesn't seem right. It like it feels like I don't even know how long it's been. I don't even remember outside anymore.
Well, for me, I was living with my roommate on campus, and then they were like, "Oh, you guys need to be separated," and I was like, "Okay." I've gotten even more isolated. Like, granted, she only moves like 2 floors above me, but it was still kind of hard because usually I'd have someone to talk to. Now, just like stare at the wall, and my room is like half empty because all of her shit is gone. But I don't know. I think I coped as best as I could. I mean, yeah.
So I was living off campus with roommates, and then I came back to my parents' house. So I am currently in my like hometown, and it is weird. And I realized pretty early on that like part of why it felt like I was regressing was also because like when I lived in my parents' house, I didn't go out or do anything like at all. So I'm just like, why does this feel kind of normal? And I'm like, oh yeah, because like when I was in middle and high school, I just like sat around and watched movies. But it doesn't feel super a lot like I've like regressed in like, you know, being an adult just because my older sister's here as well. And so it's like we're all here. So it does feel like we're all kind of just hunkering down. But it is very weird because I'm like, yeah, my parents are like asking what I did in school today, and that hasn't happened in forever, you know. Um, but yeah, it is weird.
So, in the experience of like quarantine learning and teaching, were there some things that worked better for you? Like Stacey, you said how like having a specific meeting time and a Zoom seeing face to face helped. What are some things like that?
And I could eat in class and just turn off my camera, turn off my mic, and then I'm just like there cooking, and then I'm listening to the lecture. I don't know. I feel like that helped, but because my classes are like at 2 p.m. and that's usually when I get home.
Yeah, you get to fidget and do whatever you want.
Was that helpful for your personal need or your scholastic need?
I think both. If I don't eat, I can't concentrate.
I will say I do like that, yeah, you can just cook whenever and eat, like, and just also just respond to your bodily like needs during class. I think that's very nice. And also I like not having to like buy expensive food on campus every time that there's class, but
Yeah.
that's just my bad, spending too much money.
The bodily need thing is really that's like having to go to the bathroom during class and having to get up and like leave is so awkward.
Yeah, I like in the beginning I was like, okay, I need to like keep my camera on the whole time. I like need to look like I'm paying attention. And then by the end I was like, okay, I'm just gonna turn my camera off for most of the class and like do something else like while in class. Um, I don't think it affected me like scholastically though. Like I did fine. So I don't know if everybody else is the same. That's kind of how I saw it.
Yeah, did anyone's grades suffer more this term than it did in like previous terms? Isabel?
Yeah. I am not proud of everything that I turned in this term. But I kept having to remind myself like it's like a pandemic, like so much is going on. I need to like forgive myself sometimes. But yeah, no, I just couldn't. Like again, it just everything felt for school like it just felt so not important. People are dying by the hundreds of thousands, and it's like I just can't. And not that that isn't happening all the time, but you know, it's so in your face and it's just like inescapable. Everybody in the world is going through a trauma, and it just like didn't feel like the time to be like, yeah, writing things for a grade.
True, your mind is more like cluttered with other thoughts. That's like school is not number one priority. I'm sorry. Lynn, you actually graduated with the Latin letters, the Latin name.
I think my grades didn't suffer, but I feel like the standard that I set for myself did. And so because everything was online, it was easier to do quizzes. It was just right there on your laptop. You just have to type something in and you got the answer. And that's not usually how I study, but that's how I studied this term. So even though my grades didn't suffer as much, I feel like it still did in some way because like the how I studied changed. And so how I got the grade was different too.
A lot, like we could get away with a lot more.
Yeah. So it was easier to get that grade. But also like harder on some other things.
So Stacy and Isabel, you're both still taking classes, but you technically graduated. So do the like traits or like habits you got from the first term of quarantine, are they still happening for this term? Like, are you still like, things are easier now?
I'm taking not remote classes, but online. So they don't require Zoom, I don't think, so far. So it's actually kind of a new ball game. And because I've never taken classes in the summer ever in my life, I'm like mentally in this vacation mode, but there's still work I have to do and I have done. So it feels very strange. It almost feels like I'm doing work not for school, but for something else. So I don't know. It just kind of feels like I'm continuing forward what I was already doing. Yeah, I'd say though that the Zoom classes were helpful as far as like I guess accountability. It's a lot easier to slack off when you're not scheduled to go to class.
The Zoom classes were definitely better for accountability because I like only skipped maybe like 1 or 2 of my Zoom classes, which is
There's no
pretty
reason why
good.
you should. Like there's
Yeah.
that you can come up with like I'm sick. It's like, well, you could still go.
Yeah. And I also think that like seeing the professor's face is like helpful. Feeling like I have someone in my head that I'm like accountable to is like that person. And right now, I am just taking an online class. So it's like pre-recorded lectures, which are not as good for accountability, but they can be helpful for me because I'm very distractible and sometimes I just need to like pause something and like do something else for a while.
So I guess like, were there things you guys were looking forward to having like a physical ceremony?
I mean, yeah. I mean, largely I was gonna go to graduation for my parents. Like I think I've heard that at other places too. But also like, just being there with everyone, just celebrating the thing and going out after and just like being with everyone on the day. Like that was the point. Less so the ceremony, more so the rest of the day, I think, was what I was looking forward to.
Yeah, I'm all about it. I was like thinking about it during winter term, like, oh my God, we're all gonna be in our ugly gowns together and it's gonna be so cute and we're all gonna have to sit there and it's gonna be so boring, but it's so sweet and special. And I'm like a sucker for that stuff. So I was really excited. So I'm glad that there's gonna be one next year for us, but I'm wondering like what it's gonna feel like, if it's gonna feel as special or more so or less so.
Yeah, Brad, you brought up a big point is like, not only did you not get a ceremony, but it's like the whole like parties afterwards, graduation celebrations, barbecues, like that whole season was like taken out.
Yeah. I just felt like I was robbed of that whole experience. Like I came all this way to America and then I didn't get like, like my mom didn't get to come. And when I sent her like graduation pictures, she was like, She didn't even congratulate me because she was sad that she wasn't there in the picture of me. So that was like the other part that was like, okay, I didn't get to do this and that.
Yeah, Lynn, you are an exchange student from Malaysia. Yay!
International student, yeah.
International student. I mean, this might be a weird question, but are the ceremonies different in Malaysia?
I wouldn't know because my sister graduated in Australia, so I've never been to like a Malaysian like uni commencement, but I would say it's pretty much similar. Like long speeches, you sit there and then you come out, people take pictures, give you flowers, and then you celebrate afterwards.
What did you guys get as like, I guess, compensation for a graduation ceremony? I see Brad laughing.
Sunflower seeds in the mail. I don't know. Took pictures on my porch, like on my balcony in my apartment. I don't know. I still haven't got my diploma.
Me too.
I know, I got that thing in the mail, and then it was like the little bookie thing that we have, and then I was like, oh, my diploma's in it, and then it's like, no, it's just an empty book.
I was gonna maybe get a trip somewhere, and then my parents had to do the like, hey, so about that trip, and I'm like, it's okay, we don't gotta do that if we can't do that right now. But I also technically haven't finished classes, but I also haven't been making a big like I had no reason to make a big deal to my family that I'm like, oh, I'm graduating, because like it's not happening physically. So like, yeah, and we all have more on our minds right now than sending me a card or anything. So I'm like, yeah.
So you guys actually got like a virtual ceremony, right?
Yeah.
Why don't you guys explain a little bit about that?
I didn't go to it. So I don't know.
YouTube video, like it's a slideshow with their faces on it, right? Like,
well, each class or school had its own link, and so we clicked on the link for College of the Arts, and there were 3 videos. The first one was kind of like commencement speeches that were generalized for everybody that we probably would have heard in person, and then the second video was geared towards our like our majors. So that was kind of nice. The second one was nice because it was more personalized. And then the third one was just a slideshow where they showed our picture and our name and our quote if we turned one in. The bad thing though is they didn't read everyone's names. Like a few people got skipped over. I don't know why.
Do we know anyone personally who got skipped over?
Natalie.
Did she actually?
Yeah, they like showed her picture and it was like much shorter than everyone else's because it didn't have to stay for the duration of her name being said.
Oh,
it was like, whoop. And I guess her mom was like super mad.
You read the name. Natalie Erin Eng, Bachelor of Arts, Film.
I did not know about that. That's actually infuriating.
I just felt a little patronized, honestly, leading up to graduation and like on graduation, even after. Like I just would get an email like every day from like the president of I don't even know, just any random old person at PSU sending an email like, congratulations, class 2020, you did it. And like all I did was sit in my apartment and like cry and like go to class. So like I don't know, like I just felt super patronized by these emails we kept getting.
What was Lindsay saying about getting like a t-shirt?
They usually do a t-shirt like at graduation when you go to like the Moda Center or wherever they hold graduation, right? Like they'll give you a t-shirt with like everyone's name on it who like graduated.
Oh yeah. We don't get that.
That's like a theater thing. I feel like if you if you were a theater kid in high school.
That totally is.
They were selling like PSU has like merch, like they had like the bookstore and like sweatshirts and all that stuff. I think they had a shirt that said like virtual Vikings or something. It was that. So it's like I feel like if I wore that t-shirt, I would just feel sad.
Yeah.
Virtual Vikings?
I hate this. Did y'all see that like the University of Oregon president did this like gave every student a virtual hug.
Wow.
It was so weird. He like got on camera and like hugged himself and was like, "This is a hug I'm sending to all the students," and everybody was like, "I don't want that."
I just feel like they're all trying so hard because they probably feel terrible and they're like sending us all these emails and like giving us virtual hugs and like doing all they can, but it's like none of it feels good. It's like, dude, thank you, but nothing can replace like what we lost. Like it's just that's why I'm so curious about next year. Like, is the commencement gonna feel the same? Well, no, but like, is it gonna feel more or less like special, or like what's it gonna entail even? Like, is the whole thing gonna be speeches about COVID? Because that was the part of the videos that I didn't like, because so much of it was like, oh, during these difficult times, oh, everything's sad. And I'm just sitting there like, I know.
What did you guys feel about like the celebrity graduation ceremony? Like the Brad's already shaking his head.
It's got the same vibe as them all like singing some stupid song on. Like it's so just like I want like it reminds me like even when family members call me and they're like, "I'm so sorry, graduation." It's like just leave me alone. Like just like please just we'll get to it when we can get to it. But right now, just yeah, it really sucks. Stop talking to me.
Just leave me alone. Quote.
Wait, I'm just like I could like the celebrity performances. I'm like I could just watch the music videos.
Yeah.
Like I'm at home on my computer. It's the same thing. Like I get what they were trying to do, but like why?
It felt like a lineup to Coachella. Like it was weird.
You watch it? I didn't watch it. I just
kept seeing ads about it because I was like, it's not about me, first of all, but it was just like Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, Beyonce, like everyone's giving their like graduation speeches, but I wouldn't know if I would feel special about it. Like,
I mean, it's for a certain group of people that we're a part of, but it's pretty large.
Yeah, it's like the whole country.
The whole world, really, like internationally.
Pretty much, yeah.
I get mad when I see, like, there's signs in people's yards that are like, "Oh, a graduate lives here," and it's usually for a high schooler, and I'm like, you didn't miss out on anything. Shut up. You're gonna get a ceremony someday if you go to college.
That's true. Like, because my cousin graduated from high school this year, and I don't feel bad for him.
Right?
Bryce, if you're watching, I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
you didn't do anything to earn that degree.
Didn't high schoolers like they didn't I mean, I don't know about everyone, but there's some high schoolers I know where school just stopped. Like they didn't continue classes. It was just like they just waited and then it was graduation time.
So basically what I heard, because I have two younger sisters that were in high school and like my mom's a middle school teacher. So basically for high school, it was like maybe the teachers would send out like, here's stuff you can do, but like it really didn't matter. Like I don't think they even like got graded on any of it, but it's just like, here's stuff you can do until like the end of the school year. So that's basically what it was. But I think, yeah, like seniors in high school were pretty much like, oh, if you got your credits, then you're like done. And then they just like were done with high school. So it's kind of, I do feel bad for them as far as like a lot of people miss like prom and things like that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a big deal. So that's unfortunate, but yeah.
That's true.
Did y'all go to prom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everett, you didn't go to prom?
No, I didn't.
Oh my god. What was your
Good job.
reasoning?
No, I just when I was in high school, that's like one of my biggest regrets is not doing more things and not just being like I felt too afraid in high school to just like be myself and just do things, and it's okay to be silly and it's okay if you let your guard down. So I didn't go to prom. I didn't even go to like the after grad party.
The after graduation party is just a bunch of high schoolers going to bowling alley for all,
know,
like
because
3 hours.
I went to a bowling pool. It was awesome.
Can't relate.
That's the thing though, is like Everett, I feel like a lot of people can relate to like the whole like, oh, I can't be myself in high school, and high school is so like sucky, and in college you're with such like a large amount of people and you're like hanging out with the same major, and that's when you learn to just be yourself because you're surrounded by people like you, and it's just super cool. So I mean, that's like a huge reason like why I didn't like the virtual term, was because of the missed opportunities with that. And like, I guess online school is a big choice for a lot of people, but we didn't sign up for that. So of course we're not going to like it. I don't know. I was just trying to bring the high school thing back to what we were talking
about. Dude, I was just thinking the whole time, like, after when we can all safely gather, we have to give Everett a prom.
Yeah.
Everyone has to give Everett a prom. We'll have someone's house set up. Everyone comes in suits and
You have to make like
so fun.
You have to make someone has to make like regular punch, and then it's one person's job to come and spike it.
And it's someone else's job to guard the punch and be like, no, you can't do that.
Like
chaperones. Everett, we're gonna be your prom.
Oh my god, that sounds so fun. I will. Can I be on the head of the prom committee?
Yes.
You can be the prom king.
You can be prom king. You can be the dancing queen. We'll play that like 7 times at least.
That's my favorite song. Can we please play that?
Lynn, did you go to prom?
We didn't have proms over there.
So, oh, really?
Like, they called it like graduation. So you dressed up and then you went to this like fancy hotel and in like this ballroom and have tables and shit. And I don't even remember what I did. So
we're giving Lynn a prom also. Prom king and queen. That would be so much fun, you guys. We're doing it. When we can all safely gather and drink happily ever after, we're gonna have a prom. We need a DJ. Who knows a good DJ? Isabel? We're enlisting Isabel as our DJ.
All right, my dad's DJ'd a couple bar mitzvahs.
Oh!
So
we're set up. We're ready.
You can double as a chaperone.
All right, that's a plan, you guys. I'm all counting on you to be there. So now that you're all basically done, some of you have some classes left over, were there any like after graduation like job opportunities or professional type things that you had lined up or didn't that you can't go to anymore? Like I know Everett you got accepted into the Disney College program, so
yeah. And then it's so sad because it's like, so I applied for Fall Advantage, so I'd be there in May, so I would have been there already. But they just canceled it because, of course, they had to shut everything down. And hopefully the rest of fall, they usually go there in August. I think they're still on track, but with Disney, there's just so much uncertainty and they're not saying anything to anybody. It was pretty sad, and I just felt so disposable. It's like we didn't even get a confirmed spot back. It was just go ahead, reapply some other time. So I'm still gonna try and reapply in August.
Do you think you'll have a better chance because you've already been picked?
I hope so. I have a fear that spring was canceled, fall was canceled, and then there's going to be more people wanting to go back. So I'm hoping it's not just insanity with thousands and thousands upon of people just applying. I hope they can take into consideration that those who are already chosen, those who already went, should go and have priority. I hope.
And you were going to Florida location, right?
Yeah, I was going to go to Florida. Yeah, it's okay though. I ain't mad.
You are mad. I'd be mad for you.
I feel like Everett, I say that at the end of like every phrase. That's like my quarantine phrase. Like,
I'm trying not to be mad, but it's understandable. Everyone is mad and everyone's dealing with their own things.
Anyone else have any like job-like opportunities?
It wasn't a film related thing, but I was at my work before I was laid off, but like a bunch of other people were laid off. I was going to get a new position and it wasn't like, gonna be my dream job or like going to get me a lot more connections just in general around Portland. Yeah, I don't know. It was gonna be nice and hopefully going to give me opportunities to get inching towards like being in the actual fields of my study. But yeah.
Was anyone else laid off? I was too.
Yeah, I was laid off in I think March. And I was laid off for like 6 weeks or something like that, which really wasn't that bad. And then we just opened because I work retail. So then we opened up like a month ago. So then I've been working there. And it's weird working at like a retail place during all of this. It's kind of interesting.
Are there
But
any
yeah.
like special precautions that you have to take? Like, do you guys have to dry clean the clothes?
No, so basically we have to wear a mask, and then if you're working register, you have to wipe down the counter and the pin pad between each transaction. The fitting rooms are closed, but people can return things. So basically, if they return something, we put it in the back in quarantine for 2 days, and then we put it back out on the floor. So it's just kind of like that's what we're doing, which is a little weird, but yeah, it's sketch for sure.
Did anyone gain a job during quarantine? Is the question.
Oh, Postmates.
You do Postmates?
Hell yeah, I love it.
Do you get any like angry customers?
They can't really get angry at you unless you deliver it to them and like there's something missing, but that's usually not your fault. Especially right now, because sometimes it'll instruct you to check if the restaurant added all the sides that they asked for, but I don't really want to open anyone's bag and like search through their food because obvious reasons. But for the most part, it's pretty contactless and customers are usually really sweet.
So for anyone who did lose their job, was that the main source of like how you were going to pay for your school? Because I know for my situation, I was totally petrified.
For me, no, luckily.
Yeah, I actually had the opposite. I made money off of quarantine because I didn't have to pay for housing in Portland. So my loans paid for my whole spring term, which was nice because normally I had to pay like a couple of thousand out of pocket each term. So this last term I didn't, which was actually nice. But yeah, so it didn't affect me.
As people who are now going into the business world, what is one thing you don't want people asking you right now?
What are you planning on doing?
Hell yeah!
Plans right after graduation.
Finished like 17 years of school. Can I have a month at least?
That's how I feel. Everybody's asking me like, "Oh, now what?" And I'm like, "Can I just like move into my new place and like chill for like 2 weeks and then we'll talk about it?" Like I promise. But geez.
Or they're like, "Are you moving to LA or New York?" And
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like,
Like,
I hate that.
with whose money?
LA and New York are not the only two places you can make films. Like Netflix travels to Oregon all the time.
Are you moving to these two cities that are like dangerous to be in at this current time?
Right, that just showed us that they do not have the infrastructure to keep you safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really just feel like dying. So yeah, I'm gonna move to New York.
I mean, one thing is like technically now I would be free of time and I would be able to work on projects or something, right? But like we chose an industry which actually does not exist at the moment. There's no work. Like there's nothing happening. Like,
we can all teach ourselves to animate.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
If anyone needs voice work, I have a microphone coming in the mail. I'm gonna set up a studio.
Actually, I do have a job lined up for you.
Yes. Okay.
Has anyone else like I don't know, gotten into any like passion projects?
I kind of did. I mean, I'm using this time to write everything I ever wanted to but didn't in film school. So that's what I'm doing. And yeah, I think I'm gonna write my own short soon. I just don't know when I'm filming it.
Ooh! Yay, Lynn! That's so exciting.
My sister and I recently pressured my dad to tell us more stories about family members that we don't know as much about. And he told us some stories about my aunt that I'm like thinking I might need to make into a movie because they're fucking crazy. And I don't know if I have the skills to write the script yet, but I want to start conceptualizing it because, like, she had a crazy life.
Dude, that's
And,
amazing.
yeah.
I bet everyone has like that family member that's like, you're really cool, and I don't know what to think about you at the same time. Everett, what have you been doing during quarantine?
I playing badminton like religiously.
Oh,
Like whenever it's not like super windy and the sun isn't like in one side of the field, I'm just playing with my siblings.
are you playing by yourself? Like
A lot of siblings. I'm not just playing.
I just imagine like Everett with like a the shuttlecock on like a string and just like against the wall or something.
And then other than that, just sleeping, eating, playing video games.
Yeah.
You know, the usual.
That's the life. Yeah, I feel like you guys should take a break. Cause you're right, Brad. Like 17 years of school, like I think you guys deserve a little bit of a break. Whether that's like forced by the current situation or not, you know? So I actually, to wrap everything up, I have a letter from our favorite professor, Jungmin Kwon,
Aww.
that she wrote to you guys. And so I'll read it off to you. Hi, my lovely friends, Stacy, Karis, Everett, Lynn, Isabel, and Brad. It is unbelievable that you are graduating. I clearly remember how much I enjoyed having you in my classroom. Other than your intelligence and passion in the classroom, I also remember Stacy's always cute outfits, Karis's shy smile, Everett's fedora and well-matched cape, Lynn's love for Baby Yoda, Isabel's super delicious Valentine's Day cookies, and Brad's obsession with cats, the movie.
Knew it.
Those days were beautiful, and I feel so blessed to have seen you grow. I am so sad to see you go, but I am also very excited that you have successfully finished your college life and you are ready to step forth. I believe your life will be full of joy, laughter, and success. I know sometimes it will be bumpy, but we know it is part of life. It is what makes you stronger. Eventually, you will smile and thrive. Congratulations on your graduation, and best wishes for your next stage. Love you.
Aww.
Oh,
Nice.
Sweet.
You send that? I want to print it out and hang it on my wall.
I will definitely send it to you
same.
guys.
I want to get it tattooed on my leg.
It's like a matching tattoo of Jungmin's graduation letter.
We just all get it.
She's not endorsing that.
My
But
back.
just like a whole face tattoo of that letter.
That's the first time I felt like I graduated.
Yeah.
Aw.
She was so happy to be able to contribute to this video in that way, just to
Aw.
give you guys a sense of support from one faculty member.
I'm gonna
So
email her
sweet.
later.
You guys should thank her so much for everything. I know, like having support from not only family members and friends, but like the professors that are teaching you is very important during our last term and your guys' last term. So
I agree, because like a lot of people can say like, "Wow, good work, that was amazing," but they don't know. They see the pain. They see the veins popping out of their foreheads. They know.
Mhm.
So that's really nice. That's really gratifying.
Give one final statement. I'll get it from each of you of just like what you would tell the world right now, whether that be like, I don't know, a stranger on the street, someone who's gonna graduate soon, you know, your family. You got 30 seconds to figure out the perfect quote for you right now. We'll start from the oldest. Who is it?
I guess I would say don't put so much pressure on yourself.
I think that mostly it's you have a lot more time than you think you do. I don't know. Go a little slower. It's not as like, yeah, things might suck right now, but it's so small compared to the rest of time. Like, just go slower. Don't, this will pass.
I would say like be patient with yourself, because I'm like an impatient person. I always tell myself that, but whether or not that happens is like another thing. But yeah, be patient with yourself. Like everything will work out. And if you really want to do something, just like keep doing at it. And one day it'll happen. Like something will come your way. Or, you know, someone will like see your work and want to work with you. Yeah. And if you ever feel sad, just take an edible. You know?
Oh my god.
Thinking like the past 4 years, like when I first moved into my dorm as a freshman, it's gone by really quick besides like all the work I've done. So I would say just learn to breathe and appreciate the smaller things, because I think that's what I did do.
I'd say don't let fear control you. Take the opportunities that are given to you or that you can see. Yeah, just don't let fear control you and listen to your gut. You're more capable than you think you are.
Lord, I'm not as eloquent as all of y'all, but my advice is just, if it's possible, get fresh air, because it does wonders for your head. Like even if you're in an apartment, just stick your head out the window and just like breathe it in, because it's really helpful, honestly, and just like calming down and feeling better and less trapped, for sure. So that's where I'm at. Just get fresh air if you can.
Well, thank you all so much for participating. This has been a great conversation, great experience. I love listening to all of you because you guys inspire me to do better and, I don't know, achieve more. So thank you so much. I love having you guys, and thank you for watching. Bye.
Um,
Bye.
Bye.